Okay, so we are in genmymodel.com here, and there's a couple different ways to do UML work. There's an Eclipse variant that you can use. I think GenMyModel works fine for most things, unless you're going to get pretty complicated. So, okay, so we're here. We're going to go ahead to projects, and we're going to do new project, and we want regular project, new empty project, and we're going to call it sample class. Okay, and it's going to be a UML, and it's going to be a class diagram. It's going to be public because that's how it is free on GenMyModel. And then we're going to click Create Project. We get to Sample Project, right? And we're going to go Open in Editor. Okay, so now our editor is going to load. Okay, so our editor is loading. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new class. So we just drag it on over. Our class is going to be dog. Okay, and in dog we're going to go ahead and we're going to drag over. Now in here, I know that it's it's different everywhere, right? So in here they have attributes and what do they call it? They call it. If you go to right-click on dog, we get an attribute or operation, right? So an attribute is like a property or a field. Different people use different things. So we're going to call this age, and that is going to be a. It's a little bit kludgy. Okay, so we notice that if we add age here, we can go to type, and we can say that it is a long. Okay, so that'd be like a. It's interesting, we can, they don't have like double, for example, right? So I'd just go ahead and make it kind of a similar type for now, if you're doing Java. If you wanted to make age just an integer, we could make it just an integer, right? Okay, so we can go ahead, we can add age, we're going to add another attribute, and that is going to be color. Then we can go over, and color is of course going to be a string. Okay, and we can add another one. We can add another attribute of, let's say we're going to add name, so dog's name, and that's also going to be a string. Okay, now we can go ahead and add operations, right? So we can add an operation. It's going to be void, right? And it's going to be we're going to call it bark. Okay. And so it's not going to return anything. We're going to add another operation called sit. Right? We're going to add another operation. We want to add a constructor, right? So we want to add so we could add a parameter to bark or sit. But we want to add another operation that we're actually going to call dog, right? So that's going to be our constructor. And to dog, we're going to add an attribute. Oops. We're going to add a parameter, and that parameter is going to be called name, and that is a string. Okay. And we're going to add another parameter, and that's going to be color. Color, which is also a string. And we're going to add, finally, we're going to add age, which is a integer. Okay? So, and those are going to be required, obviously. So, okay, so we have bark, we have sit, and we have our constructor. Okay? I could also add getter and setter methods, right? So we could get age. Okay, and that would probably return a string, or sorry, an integer. We can add okay, so we could add we could go ahead and add a setter method, right? So we can add set age, Okay, and that's going to be a the return type for that, of course, is going to be void. Of course, the parameter we'd have to have would be a string, right? So the parameter would be age, right? And that would be a integer. Okay. So I could add all my get and set methods as well. Okay, so that is kind of that. And we can also go in here and so basically I can go ahead and just keep adding operations. So we have get color, we have set color, we have get name, we have set name. Okay, and of course get color is going to return a string, get name is going to return a string, get color is going to return, sorry, set color, we need to give it a string, right? We need to feed it a string. And set name, we're going to need to feed it a string. Okay, because obviously it won't know what name to set, right? So we're going to set the name as a string. Okay, so now we have the kind of our initial class, right? Okay, now we want to have some inherited classes here. Okay, so we have one class is going to be I don't know how to spell any of these. Another class is going to be Pitbull. Okay. Our other class is going to be, other inherited class is going to be German Shepherd. Another class is going to be, and I'm going to really butcher the spelling here, Chihuahua. I know that's not how it's spelled. Okay. It's a W. Anyway, we'll Chihuahua. Let's name it Chihuahua. It really is the wrong spelling. Just be aware of that. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to make these derived classes, right? Or I'm sorry, like subclasses of Pitbull. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and use the correct UML arrow, right? So it's an open arrow connecting to the base class, right? So the subclass connects to the base class, showing generalization, and we can go ahead and drag this out so they're kind of neater, right? Either way is fine, right? They can actually be separate arrows for UML. So, okay, so we have our UML diagram at this point, and now we are going to generate some code. Okay, so we're going to go to Tools, Direct Generation, and if you want to generate code, you don't have to. You can use it for just documentation. So we're going to go to Java Direct Generation. And success. Okay, so we get our zip file, which downloads, right? Okay, and notice that it's going to be okay, so we got our sample class, and I can just I have 7-zip installed. You have whatever you have installed, and we can just go ahead and just pull it right out of here and drag it somewhere in. For example, I dragged it to downloads. Okay, so there we have. All right, so we essentially, so I've dragged it out. I've extracted it, and we get to source, main, and then it's in Java, and then model. And notice that now we have our nice Java class files, right? So we have our dog class. Let's go ahead and open that one. And let's just take a look at it in not Notepad. Oops. We can go ahead and open it with WordPad. Seems odd to me. Okay, so this is the basic code generation that gets done. Not great, okay, but it saves you a bit of typing there, and obviously it has your for example, it has your set color, string color, Okay, so it does, save you a fair bit of work. So, okay, so that is genmymodel.com. Good luck.